Everybody, Matt Mailka here checking in from Santa Clara Levi Stadium on Friday, the 49ers' final practice here in Santa Clara of the season. Um, Unlike when they fly multiple time zones, when they leave on Friday, for this trip to Arizona, they'll leave on Saturday. And of course, the season finale on Sunday against the Cardinals. 49ers 6-10, locked into last place in the NFC West. And a lot of big name guys are going to be out. You know, all the guys on injured reserve, and it's a lengthy list there. And then we'll add on top of that the five players that the 49ers were ruled out for this game on Sunday. That includes Brock Purdy, Debo Samuel, Diamador Lenore. So, three big time players, Spencer Burford and Robert Beal, as well as Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Players that are listed as questionable for this game: Jair Brown, Colton McKivitz, George Kittle. I guess I probably should have mentioned Kittle first on that list, and Isaac Yiadom. So um, the offseason hasn't started yet, but listening to John Lynch on Kane VR Friday morning, it certainly sounds like the offseason has started for him. He talked about giving this game the respect that comes with that. It's a regular season game. It counts on the records. It counts in the record books. And for some players, obviously, it counts a great deal. You Nick Bosa certainly wants to get to 10 sacks again. Juwan Jennings certainly wants to get to the 1,000-yard receiving mark, something that he never accomplished at University of Tennessee or in his time here in the NFL. So he's in a good situation because it'll be Joshua Dobbs who will be throwing to him, college teammates. And so Joshua Dobbs, in his first start with the 49ers, kind of sounds like it might be his first and only start with the 49ers, maybe his only game, or I should say his last game with the team, because after I posted on Friday, he was asked about, whether he would like to be back with the 49ers. And his answer was about as non-committal as you could possibly get. A lot of times guys will, when asked, would you like to be back? Would you like to re-sign with this team? Guys will say, oh, I'd love to be here. We'll see if things work out and, in the during free agency. But yes, with Joshua Dobbs, when asked whether he wants to be back, his answer was free agency will be free agency, so we'll let that handle itself. My thought is that, Dobbs was clearly not pleased that he wasn't the backup quarterback. When he signed with the 49ers, he knew he wasn't going to be the starter. He knew he wasn't going to beat out Brock Purdy, or that there was even an opportunity for that to happen. But I do think that he felt like um, he should have been in line to be the number two. Kyle Shanahan ended up, who he talked a lot about it being a very close race, but ultimately Kyle Shanahan went with the quarterback who's been around, knows the system better, and all that. Now, with the 49ers having this makeshift offensive line, the a quarterback who can use his legs, can scramble, can make plays out of nothing, that becomes something that they're placing a premium on. And so that's why it'll be Joshua Dobbs. And also Dobbs got in that game on Monday night against the Lions and played pretty well. But last season we're talking about a season last year where Dobbs started 12 games with two different teams, starting the season with the Cardinals, then going on to the Vikings. And in both instances, he was called upon to replace injured starters. Kyler Murray initially with the Cardinals as he was come back from an ACL injury. And then once Kyler Murray came back, then he was traded to the Vikings. Joshua Dobbs was to take over for Kirk Cousins. But in 12 starts last year with those two teams, he threw for 2,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, had a passer rating of 79.5. But he also rushed for 421 yards and six touchdowns. So probably see a lot of that on Sunday with Joshua Dobbs trying to use his legs to make some plays. Again, we saw that when he came in against the Lions on Monday night after Purdy's injury, where he did complete three passes for 35 yards, but also ran for a 7-yard touchdown. One encouraging thing with the 49ers is Kyle Shanahan was asked about the injury to Brock Purdy, and it is to the elbow his throwing elbow. It's referred to as a contusion and also nerve inflammation. And Shanahan was of the opinion that if the 49ers had a game next week, that Purdy would be back in there. But certainly they're taking it cautious with him. No reason to put him out there. A lot of conversation, of course, leading into last week. I know my colleague at NBC Sports Bay Area, Dante Whitner, the former safety with the 49ers, he didn't think that any of the frontline guys should have been playing in that game. I disagree with him. I felt like if all the guys are they're healthy, they should be out there playing, and that's kind of the line of that where they're delineating this is that if you're healthy, you're playing. If And I think these guys want to play. I think they'd feel like they were quitting on their team if they were healthy and they were being held out as a healthy scratch. But when you're dealing with an injury, that's a completely different thing. And so there's no use in pushing guys out there who physically might not be ready to go. Speaking of being physically ready to go, and this is a stretch, I know, but if there's a silver lining for the 49ers, then there's no silver lining for the 2024 season. But talking about a team that had uh, three postseason games in each of the past 3 years. And I asked Nick Bosa about that on Friday, and he said that added month will be super beneficial. Of course, everybody would rather be playing the three extra playoff games and beyond. But Bosa said, like, not only are you starting your recovery a month earlier, but you're also recovering from your body not taking part in those three extra games. And those are high leverage games where the intensity is unmatched, even in the regular season. So, um, 49ers will get a quick start on this offseason, as uh, John Lynch talked about on KNBR, of they're already starting that process of getting out there and kind of putting together a plan. And he did say uh, one of the things he said about this was that while this is not a place that anyone wants to be, I feel a lot of excitement from Kyle, the opportunity to have a whole off season as opposed to a very expedited one because you played in a Super Bowl. So therein lies the challenge for the 49ers. It's to figure out where they want to go, both roster wise and everything else, scheme wise. Studying what the root of the problem was for this team, and we all know this team had a lot of injuries to key guys. We also know that their red zone offense was bad. We know that their takeaway giveaway differential was bad. They didn't take the ball away on defense. They gave it up too much on offense. We know special teams across the board, bad. A lot of areas of this team need to be improved, need to be fixed. And I do agree with the sentiment of a lot of guys is that the nucleus is there. The key parts are there. A lot of these guys didn't play a whole lot this season due to injuries. But, one of the things that Lynch said on KNBR was we just got to get back to where we belong, which is competing for championships. I wholly and strongly believe that we've got the group in place to do that. And a lot of circumstances that happened this year, and it's just us not taking care of business. And so, when you think about the injuries to Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Javon Hargrave, and many others, Dre Greenlaw, those are key players. And in some of those guys won't be back, or at least one of them won't be back probably. Um, but there's still star power here with the 49ers. And it's never going to be a tear down situation when you have, guys like Fred Warner and Bosa and, Lenore here for the long term and Brock Purdy. And, we'll see Kittle, um, you know, Ayuk, Jennings. We'll see about Debo Samuel, all those guys. And so we'll see. I mean, the 49ers have been knocking on the door for the previous 5 years, two Super Bowl appearances. This year was a lot like 2020, where they took a major step back. Injuries played a big role in that season, and whether they have the answers to come back in 2025, that obviously remains to be seen. So, um, my five to watch um, for this game, which I posted in NBC Sports Bay Area, I had Jake Moody because, I mean, where is this going to go? He's going to be kicking for the team on Sunday. I don't think they're going to cut him in the offseason without a competition. And so that dude just needs to he needs confidence. The problem, as I've talked about, is that if he does win a competition and begins next season as the kicker, how's he going to perform in his first pressure kick? And if he misses his first pressure kick, is that the time to release him and go somewhere else? So we'll see. There's certainly a part of me that believes he needs a fresh start somewhere, that he can be a good kicker in the NFL, but it might not be with the 49ers. Another person I'll be looking at, Talanoa Hufanga, uh, scheduled for unrestricted free agency. There should be a market available for him. And so we'll see him both in run support, trying to pin down Kyler Murray on Sunday, and also in pass coverage. So Talanoa Hufanga is a player the 49ers want to keep, but how much competition will they face to keep him? Also, Fred Warner. I'm just of the belief that this guy is a bulldog who wasn't coming off the field under any circumstances. In fact, last week I asked him about, Dante Whitner's uh, belief that they should rest, not play Warner, Kittle, Purdy before the injury, all these guys, and he just like nope. He said it's about integrity, that he wears the captain C on his chest, so he's not coming off the field unless he just simply can't get on the field. So anytime Fred Warner's out there, watch for him. Also, uh, the Juwan Jennings and Joshua Dobbs connection. The two Tennessee guys, Jennings going for 1,000 yards, Dobbs kind of looking to set himself up for next season, whatever that holds for him. We shall see. I think his perfect scenario would be kind of a Sam Darnold kind of situation where he signs with the team as a veteran and maybe can help a rookie come along. So thanks for tuning in. As my voice gives out. And that's it for now.